Systemic change is an important concept in the Vincentian family in the last few years. It captures the social dimension of the Vincentian mission nicely to address the structural causes of poverty. There are three important questions we need to address if our systemic change efforts are to be effective. Systemic change for what end? What particular systems need to change? And how do we engage in systemic change in a way that is faithful to the Vincentian charism? In the 21st century, sustainability must be one of the aims of any systemic change effort. The human family must address some pressing challenges if we wish to enable human flourishing on a planet that is increasingly hot, flat, and crowded. Sustainability has three basic dimensions to it: economic viability, social justice, and environmental stewardship. In its most straightforward articulation, our challenges can be summed up with one equation: I equals PAT, where environmental impact, I, is a function of the human population, P, times affluence or economic growth, A, times technological innovation. The human population has been in a dynamic of exponential growth in the last 2 centuries. The key word here is exponential. It took just about all of human history to reach 1 billion people in the middle of the 18th century. In St. Vincent's time, there were about 1 billion humans inhabiting the earth. Recent projections indicate the human population could reach 10 billion before the end of the century. Many ecologists are concerned that we will surpass the Earth's carrying capacity in the not-too-distant future. John Beddington, Chief Science Advisor to the UK government, argues that we faced a perfect storm of food shortages, water scarcity, and costly oil by 2030. The pattern of exponential growth is troubling to ecologists because impacts on ecosystems can be sudden, irreversible, and in some instances catastrophic, leading to a collapse of some or many of the systems we have become dependent on. The drastic growth in population also correlates to profound growth in humanity's relative affluence, in its economic growth overall. This reality creates a great paradox for us. On the one hand, the current sustainability challenges are indicative of human flourishing when compared to the rest of human history. On the other hand, however, the Earth has a limited carrying capacity, and not all regions of the world have developed at the same pace. And so the paradox: humanity must increase the consumption levels of the world's poor, while at the same time reducing humanity's total ecological footprint. The solutions to this paradox will require a radical rethinking of human flourishing and of our collective priorities. If we could travel back in time to talk to Vincent de Paul, he would say that the kingdom of God is the only vision of a sustainable community capable of meeting the needs of the present without sacrificing the ability of future generations to do the same. In Chapter 2 of the Common Rules of the Congregation of the Mission, Vincent observes, Christ said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his justice, and all these things which you need will be given you as well." If the kingdom of God is St. Vincent's vision for a sustainable community, then justice is the ethical imperative for building it. Justice has a number of categories that are helpful for examining what particular systems might need to change to build sustainable communities. Commutative justice calls for fundamental fairness in all agreements and exchanges between individuals or social groups. Distributive justice demands that the allocation of income, wealth, and power in society be evaluated, quote, in light of its effects on persons whose basic material needs are unmet, unquote. Contributive or social justice concerns the active contribution and participation of persons in communal life. Economic justice concerns the capacity for meaningful participation in the realm of work. Environmental justice highlights the concrete harms caused by environmental degradation on poor communities. The poor are the ones who live in and around garbage dumps and suffer the health consequences of landfills, toxic dumps, and other forms of pollution. And lastly, intergenerational justice is social justice extended over time. These categories of justice, all of them, are foundational for building sustainable communities. How do we engage in systemic change in a way that is consistent with and faithful to the Vincentian charism? There are three basic principles here. First, we begin with the poor. Evangelizare pauperibus misit me, the motto of the Congregation of the Mission, which means, He has sent me to be good news for the poor. Second, systemic change requires systems thinking. We must suspend our deeply held assumptions and listen to multiple stakeholders, especially the poor. Third, we work together. Congregatio missionis means people gathered together for the sake of the mission. We cannot build sustainable communities if we do not live in sustainable communities.